Hi, y'all. In the liner notes for the album Freewheelin', Nat Hintoff quoted Bob Dylan as saying, "The most important thing I know I learned from Woody Guthrie. I'm my own person. I've got basic common rights whether I'm here in this country or any other place. I'll never finish saying everything I feel, but I'll be doing my part to make some sense out of the way we're living and not living now. All I'm doing is saying what's on my mind the best way I know how." End quote. So in the spirit of that, let me start off by saying that this is not the video I originally planned. But then something unexpected, tragic, and horrific happened. Of course, at this point, it really shouldn't be unexpected, which is part of what makes it so tragic. I realize that if you're watching this video a few days, or a few weeks, months, or years from now, you're not going to know exactly what I'm talking about, which is also tragic and horrific. Additionally, in the tragic, horrific, and unfortunately not unexpected category is the fact that if you're watching this video a few days, a few weeks, a few months, or even a few years from now, you might be over what just happened. And maybe over what happened a little more than 9 days ago, not to mention what happened in between. Maybe you're even over what happened a year ago or 2 years ago. But earlier in the day, I realized that I personally was annoyed when someone didn't hold space for people who are suffering a few feet away from them, and then a few hundred miles away from them, and then again, almost 2,000 miles away. People who are not going to get over it. So I decided to do a different video. The thing is, as I was planning and teaching classes on Bob Dylan's 81st birthday, I realized that a lot of what we've been talking about in terms of changing perspectives and making changes on a personal level are relevant for today. They're relevant for this moment when we need to have a conversation about changing perspectives and making changes on a community level. Remember, our experiences have hardwired our brains to respond and react a certain way. We see every new experience through samskaras, those mental impressions that create more samskaras and can eventually become vasanas, those dwelling places of our habits. So when the tragic and the horrific happen, we fall into our patterns, even when they don't serve us. Because we may not know anything different, we can't conceive of anything different. We just keep repeating the same afflicted, dysfunctional behavior that leads to more heartache, more tragedy, more suffering, more thoughts and prayers. Without even realizing it, we're creating barriers to change. Because we don't expect things to change, our energy is invested in nothing changing. Remember, we are conditioned, predisposed, but not predestined to think, speak, and act a certain way based on our history. Even if we wanted to, we can't change that history. We can't change our past. We can, however, change our expectations. We can change our future's past. I know that's a weird statement, but it's true. We can change our future's past. We can change our future's history. Because right here and right now, we're creating our future's history. Right here and right now, we are creating our future's past. And if we want different possibilities than future, we have to expand what Dr. Bo Lotto calls the space of possibility. One way we can do this is by having a dialogue with someone and really listening to someone who has different ideas, who sees things in a different way. Someone whose experiences, mental impressions, and habits provide them with a different space of possibility. I say having a dialogue because the exchange of information and ideas has to go both ways. Nobody has the answer, but we all have possibilities. Some of these possibilities may seem like baby steps. Some may seem like giant leaps, even giant leaps over enormous obstacles. And that's okay, because my giant leap is your baby step. Your giant leap is my baby step, and our biggest, most enormous obstacles are past behaviors. We can do things together that we can't do alone. We just have to remember that if we don't move forward, we will go backwards, or we will come to a complete standstill and cease to exist. In those liner notes I mentioned before, a 21-year-old Bob Dylan is quoted as saying, "I still say that some of the biggest criminals are those that turn their heads away when they see wrong and they know it's wrong." End quote. It may take more than 9 days to change what's wrong, but the very least we can do is use the next 9 days to the best of our ability.